Howdy, everybody in YouTube land. What we have in front of us today is a Powerbook 100. Now, this particular machine was sent to me for repair. It's not mine. So, the complaint on this machine is it was working fine, and then all of a sudden the screen went out. So, before we go any further, I want to take a look at this machine and see what we got going on the inside of it. Carefully open this guy up. Let's see, what do we got? Well, we don't have any blemish on the screen, because normally I see a blemish there caused by this trackball. So we don't have that. Keyboard seems to be in good condition. Nothing wrong there. Let's see what we have on the rear port covers. It looks like the feet are sticking. So let's see. We have. Okay, there's that. Everything looks good there. Yeah. These feet are an absolute mess. Yeah, they're really sticky. So I'm going to have to dig all that out of there. But I'll worry about that later. So, not we're concerned about that at the moment. Now, he did send this power supply with it. Now, the problem is these are almost not safe to use anymore because these have the same problem as the everything else does anymore. Is there's capacitors inside there leaking. The problem is this is ultrasonically welded shut. And I'm not certain how to crack this apart because I've never ever worked on one of these. So I am more than willing to not use that. So we'll probably just do this instead. So where's the power supply here? Okay, so it's right there. Actually, you know what? He's already tried to use this thing. So let's just go for broke. Screw it. Let's see, what's it do? I'm using this gimbal thing, just FYI. Alright, so. Got a chime, got a backlight, and yep, that's it. That's all we got. Oh yeah, we got another problem here too. See this ridge? That's from this getting sticky as well, so that's an issue. Alright, okay, so that's what we got. So this screen is for sure. Oh, yeah, it's booting. There must be a blue SCSI in here. Or a Zulu SCSI or something like that. Yep. Yep, the backlight is working, so. So the machine is running. We just have a bad screen. Now, I'm going to assume it's been recapped. I don't know 100% for sure, but I'm thinking. Alright, yeah. We're going to have to take this guy apart and see what we got going on because that is not good. Not good at all. So let's get this thing apart and do a quick inspection. And as I suspected, this thing has been recapped. Because there's no way it was going to run if it hadn't been, right? So whoever recapped it did a really good job with the work. I mean, it's impressive actually. Now, I've seen these caps before. Who did this? This was either done by Amiga of Rochester or maybe Matt Caps Charles. One of those two did it. I bet you anything. It wasn't me. Because I've never touched a portable. It's not really, or not a portable, but I want to say portable because this is what this is originally based off of. But there's the card. Yep, that one's been recapped as well. No problems there. We got this RAM expansion. That's actually aftermarket. It's the same type of RAM that the portable has. Yeah, so it's been fully recapped. I don't see any problems outside of that. And this is fairly easy to take apart. Literally just 3 screws and then the whole thing just separated. Yeah, it's not hard at all compared to what else I've dealt with. Alright, so there's a modem in there. Oh, the modem still has the original caps and they're corroded. That's a problem. I mean, yeah, the likelihood of using a modem today is next to none. I get that, but you can't just leave the... Never mind. Alright, so... Okay. Now... The backlight's not an issue. It's the LCD. But the LCD gets power using, through this board. So I'm wondering if we're missing the drive signal. That's a good question. The schematic to this is available, so I can pull up the schematic and check voltages and see if we've got a proper voltage, we've got our pixel clock and all that stuff making it to the panel, because the panel itself could very well be bad. And those panels are kind of hard to find and they are not cheap. So I'm going to fathom and guess the problem is in there. But I'm going to check everything else just to make sure. Alright, so I'm not sure who did the recap job, but they done it half-assed. Yeah, they did a good job with the surface mount work, but they didn't do the through-hole caps at all. They left the original ones in there. So that's a problem. But perhaps more importantly, I took the screen out and they left the original screen capacitors in there. So that is a problem. That's why the screen's not working, because chances are it was used until there's a trace or something that went open and that's it. So that's a problem. So 2 things we got to do. First, we got to check all this out. I got to remove all that and then check the circuit, make sure there's no open traces or vias underneath that, because it is leaking and corroded, see? So that's problem number 1. And then I have to check the output from this board to make sure I'm getting a pixel clock, a contrast signal, voltage, VEE, all that stuff. Make sure all of that is present from the converter circuit that's over here before we can, verify everything else. So I need to make sure all of that is present to know that the fault is not in this board. And if it's good, then it's this panel. Alright, so I took the screen apart. There you go. So that is why we're getting that bar on the bottom of the screen. That doesn't explain why the top half of the screen is dead, but that does explain why we're getting a straight bar there, because the cap goo is on the board and it's totally corroded away. So that is problem number 1. Whether that can be fixed or not, I do not know. But yeah, considering that is directly below where the caps are, that's not surprising. Yeah, that's an issue. I'm going to have to grab the microscope out and inspect all of this, because that's a problem. Alright, so here's what I've done. That's what I got on hand to make this work. Pretty? No. Functional? Yes. At least I hope so. So I got those in there. Old ones are gone. They're just laying over there. And what I did was I took my grinding tool and I went into the ribbon cable a little bit and then I touch soldered it all up. So I'm hoping we don't have any issues here. So Yeah, I don't know if this chip is any good or not or anything at this point. So let's just hope that I get some kind of picture in here. If I get a bar there, yeah, yeah, anyways. Also, this ribbon cable, the way it's kind of forced into the backlight here and here is starting to delaminate. So it wouldn't surprise me if I start developing lines on this section of the LCD either. But anyways, let's go for broke and hope this thing works. So I'm going to plug it all back in. Good news and bad news. Good news is the video chip on the motherboard is perfectly fine. The bad news is the film ribbon is shot. This guy right there. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm trying to flex the cable and push on it to see if it's a bad intermittent connection. I metered out all of those connections and they're all in parallel with the exception of the two on the end. They're in series. Like you have this one here is a separate pin, that one there's a separate pin. But then those two are there connected together and then these two are connected together. And that's all good. So that means this film itself is bad, which is unfortunate. But the rest of the display is working fine. So really at this point, I just have to procure another LCD. Alright, well unfortunately, no matter how hard I tried, I cannot fix this LCD panel. Which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Because so many of these got damaged here where the trackballs end up from people stacking laptops. So that's a problem. But no matter how hard I tried, I've tried to clean up, I've tried to grind away to get past the cap goo. There's some kind of weird damage with this IC, and there's not much I can do about it. Now, if I had a parts display, it's possible you could peel and clean up this ribbon cable and use like a vertical style tape and do it kind of like how the factory did it, bond it down, but I don't have the tools for that. So, unfortunately, this display cannot be used. However, I have obtained a replacement from the original owner. He had it shipped to me, so the new display is in this exact same display. However, I have my concerns, and here's what I mean by that. Look what they did to this cable. They've like mangled the crap out of this cable. So, and of course, because of that, I'd have to change the cable, right? But they stuck this warranty sticker right over where I need to solder the cable down. And also we have leaking capacitors. So this panel has to come apart anyways so we can clean up the capacitor damage. And I'll likely just steal the caps off of this board and move it over here. The ones I just put on here. I'll just move them over here and then I think I should test the display first before swapping this cable, because if there's damage to the display then we're gonna have a problem, right? So the part that sucks is I don't want to go through and replace all these caps just to, oh man, this is decisions, but I know it's not safe to run these displays like that either, because this is how this chip got damaged. So yeah, but regardless, this thing was not cheap. So we've got to get it fixed properly, and we got to get it tested and make sure everything works. And then once everything works, then I can decide whether I'm replacing this ribbon cable, which it looks like I might have to. I might have to steal the one off of here. So, yep. So let's get this thing unpackaged and move forward so we can get this thing properly fixed, because we have to address that. There's no way around that. I peeled this protective film on and off of it, and they definitely do not treat this stuff with care. Because holy crap, see all those scratches? Yikes, that's a problem. I mean, eventually the material is going to go vinegar syndrome anyways, and you'll have to replace it, but damn, really? They absolutely mangled the cable too, now that we can get a closer look at it. That's just, I don't think that's going to work. It's so bad. Yeah. So, and then they got the warranty tag right here. Oh, what do I do? I could pull all the caps off and recap it, but if the screen itself is completely screwed, because I got to change this cable, I lose the warranty, right? I almost want to try this thing as is, just to see if it even tries to work before I go down that path. If I at least get some kind of a screen or something because I already got the old caps pulled off the other one so I can move them over here. But I want to at least see something on screen before I attempt to recap it, because if I don't, we're probably gonna have to do an RMA, because I can't accept a screen. I know it's used. I understand it's used, right? And this is to be expected. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about this. They did this, right? They also scratched the crap out of the front screen. So, oh man. I guess that's what you get when you're dealing with guys like these. Well, unfortunately, this one's junk too. So, no go. This one's going to have to get RMA'd. Or, I mean, it's kind of working, but it's going to have to get RMA'd. Dang. Well, I think we've got another computer that we can't fix, because unless I get a panel and we keep going round and round and round about this, yeah. This is not the future. We need to figure out a different way around this problem. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes sometimes. So, we're going to have to get in touch with the seller on AliExpress, and we're going to have to do an RMA or a refund or something like that, because, yeah, I know all of these need recapped. That's not a big deal. But that is why I wanted to try this screen before I recapped it, because I had an itching suspicion based on how bad those caps are that it killed the ribbon up here, just like the other panel. So, yeah, this was over $100 to replace, so definitely going to have to send that back, and then have them either send us a new one, or, well, I don't know. We'll have to figure it out, because that's an issue. I think going forward in the future, really, what we're going to have to do is find a modern IPS or TN LCD that fits this size, and just use some kind of like FPGA or a Pi Pico or something to convert the signaling standards over, because otherwise, going forward, this is going to be a problem, and that's the end of the road for this machine. So we'll try this again. Well, it'll be up to the original owner, but if he throws in the towel, that's it. That'll be the end of this video, but hopefully we can get another panel that's still good, but I don't know. I'm not holding hope out. Alright, so I talked to the original owner, since that LCD we ordered was no good. It had the same problem. They wanted it back, so we had to do the customs paperwork and ship it back to China. Then he decided to, because we were fighting with PayPal to try to get a refund. It's a cluster fuck. Anyway, so moving right along, he found another supplier, another website, another thing entirely that had the same panel, so he ordered it. Well, here we are 2.5, almost 3 weeks later, so we're trying it again, and it looks like it's come in the exact same box, exact same yellowed style packing foam. It's even in the same exact blue. It's identical. It's so I'm starting to notice that more and more common. Like, there's multiple sellers, even across different websites, AliExpress, Alibaba, maybe even a different site from that, but they're all coming from the same supply house. Because if we look at this one, it's packaged the same way, like I said, but also we got the same exact style warranty tags. The only difference is it's not stuck to the circuit board itself like the other one was. So we can take this apart and recap it without getting in trouble. But I just have to hope that this panel does not have the eaten away plastic film from being stuck in a warehouse for 7,000 years, eating away at it. Because we know all these panels need recapped, right? But there is a time where it gets beyond the point of a recap, like the original display was run for a while with the bad caps, so that caused damage, and then the second display sat in the warehouse too long with bad caps, which caused the same exact damage. So, alright, this one looks like it had new polarizing film put on it. I mean, it does have the protection, but I can tell you right now, that film is not factory original. But more importantly, it's got the trackball damage on it. So this one's been damaged in other ways. However, at least with that, it's still usable. Whereas a big bar on the bottom of it is not usable, right? But that is not the original polarizing film. It was replaced. Because I can just tell. I don't know. I'm not holding out hope. But this did come out of a Powerbook 100. I can just tell by the trackball damage, which conveniently would line up right there. Yeah. So, okay. That cable has been taken off and put back on. I can tell that. Oh, these Chinese sellers, I swear. Okay, again, better than nothing. So what I want to do now is get this display panel tested, because I need to make sure that it even works at all. Because if not, well, that's a problem. Because you can kind of tell where this was folded, and yes, fun times. Alright, let me get this in and we'll test it. Alright, panel's connected, no inverter. I don't want to plug that in yet, so here we go again. Power on, see if this display panel even works. Well, that's a good sign. Holy crap, the bottom of the screen works. Wow, I can see it. Oh, yes, that's much better. Alright, yeah, we have our damage there, but alright, let me get the backlight reconnected and we'll try this again. Alright, well, reconnecting the backlight's not going to be possible because do you see the same problem I do? These Chinese sellers are killing me. Well, yeah, that's why that's there. Because it was broke and then it was broke. But that's not a big deal. Because we have another panel I can steal the bulb and stuff out of, right? So, and this one doesn't have the dead connection on the panel. So, okay. I have more to work with now, at least. I think for now, I'm just going to go ahead and patch that on and try the backlight again because, oh, if it ain't one thing, it's another. Moving right along. Alright, we're back up. Backlight is connected. Now, whether it's on or not, I don't know. Yeah, it's on. Now, the backlight brightness button won't do anything until the system software loads because the ROM does not have the backlight controller. Oh, yeah. Let's see. That's better. Let's turn the power off to the above light. That's much, much better. It's not the right polarizing film. I can tell you that right now. So someone replaced the polarizer and used the wrong polarizing film, but it's far better than what we had before, I think. Better than nothing, I guess. But it ain't right. Yeah, that's as clear as that's going to be. So yeah, the polarizing film was replaced on this panel. Yeah. I had a feeling because if you look at the original panel, because if I take you, let's see here. I don't have a way to get that up. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can't get that up. But, yeah, I can just kind of tell. So, like, if If I pull up the original one, here, let me go grab the original one real quick. Yeah, the difference is, yeah, see, big difference. Because there's the original, and that's the replacement. Now, when I put this replacement polarizer on, they didn't get the angle exactly right. So while it does work, it's not right. So, yeah, let me figure out what I want to do next. I do want to use this video as an excellent means to point something out. So, because they likely replaced the polarizing film due to vinegar syndrome, here's why polarization angles are important. You see how I can increase it, but then if I keep going, it inverts? Right? You want to know why that's occurring? And it's inverting at the midpoint. Because here's why this is occurring. So when this polarizer was original, it was either 45 or 135 degree polarizer. It was probably 45, but it's hard to tell, right? It could be either or from either side. Because they replaced the polarizing film, they probably didn't do what I did on my Toshiba T1000 video. If you look at the older video, they probably didn't do that, right? So what ends up happening is they took a piece of 90 degree film and just slapped it on there. So what happens is it makes the picture look very dull, but when you go to turn the contrast up, the liquid crystal bends into the, we're missing 45 degrees of polarization angle. So it's bending on the other side of the polarization angle. So because of it, it's dull. So whites are kind of like, they're not really white. They're kind of like a bluish gray. They're not, yeah, and the reason why is because the polarization angle is incorrect. So I can just keep turning it and bend it out of view. So that's an issue. That's a problem. We can't have that. Yes, it's better than nothing. It's certainly better than nothing. We're in a far better spot than we were before, because before we had like this this dead bar in the corner. So yes, it's better than nothing. But what I'm saying is, the reason why it's doing that is because they slapped on a piece of 90 degree film and we're missing 45 degrees of polarization angle. So when you turn this contrast control up, it's twisting into that angle. So, but also more importantly, if you look, they just took this film and you just cut it arbitrarily, and they didn't even, yeah, it's not right. It's not right at all. So, I mean, could we send it back and get another one? We're starting to run out of these panels, right? And then they're getting more and more expensive. So, what do you do? It's like the lesser of the two evils. I mean, as time goes on, it's going to be harder to find a good panel, and you do this. Hell, we're already having this problem now. Look at what I'm going through, right? So we are in a situation where we are. So what do we do from this point here forward? So the only thing I can do is replace the capacitors. They also replaced the backlight bulb and hacked it in there. That's why it looks so bad, and that's why it's screwed up like that. But I can move, I still have the original panel. I can move the backlight assembly over. I can clean up and recap the board, and we at least have that. But I have a suspicion we're going to end up having to peel this film back off and redoing it properly at the right polarization angle, because right now it's not correct, right? Now, if they replaced the polarizer on the back side and they used a 0 degree there and a 90 degree on front, that's okay. It should work properly, but it's not. Why is it not working properly? Well, who knows? But I have a suspicion they kept the same polarizer on the back side and they only replaced the front side polarizer, which is why their performance is so bad. It's because it's at the wrong polarization angle. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So, yeah. Alright, so I took it apart, which means no more warranty, but point of it is, this is the rear of the screen, and they did replace this rear polarizing film. They just cut it a little bit too short, and they left the protective film on it. So yeah, they did replace both films. So the polarization angle issue shouldn't be an issue, but yet it is. So that, I find that strange. Yeah, I don't know. That's strange to me. They replaced the front polarizing film too. Yeah, they did. You can kind of see the angle where it kind of goes off. And so the fact that they did that tells me that they probably used 45 films, because 3D Lens sells 45 films. They used 45 films, but they probably, I don't know what the hell they did, but yeah, there's some bubbles in here. You can see it there. Ugh, it's disgusting. But again, it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. I'll take that than having a strip all the way down. But even then, even so, I'm gonna have to replace all of these caps because they're shot, and I got to clean all this crap up too because that can't be left on there, or that's going to be a problem. So all of this is going to come off and get replaced with new, and hopefully that solves my problem and this thing will last. I will give them props because they made a valiant effort to refurb the panel. New film on both sides, new backlight bulb, but this is just inexcusable. Because if you're going to go through all the trouble to rebuild the panel and put new polarizing film and all that stuff on it, recap it. I mean, if I've got to be nitpicky, that's the one thing I have to be nitpicky about. Alright, we're all reassembled. I mean, it's not terrible, I guess, but it's better than nothing. So, it's all back together. Here we go. Looks like we're coming up. Definitely looks strange without the original polarizing film. But, you know, if I ever ran into one of these that had vinegar syndrome, it would be the same way. We'd be stuck with the same situation. So, you just have to deal with it. This is where we are today. Ideally, in a perfect world, we could figure out how to adapt a modern panel to this thing. But, you know, who knows if that's ever going to be a thing. But it's usable. Is it perfect? No, but it's definitely usable. The camera actually makes it look better than what it really is. So, yeah, we're but the cool thing is I can actually invert the LCD if I want. Actually, it's better when it's inverted. Not gonna lie. But it's usable. That's the important thing. It's usable. Let's see, what is actually on this thing, I wonder. I don't know. Microsoft Word 4. Well, let's see. Does the keyboard work? Yep. That does. I will say one thing. The keyboard on this thing types far better than the more modern ones, especially the Powerbook Duo series. Those are terrible. But anyways, it appears, let's see, what is this? Microsoft Word. We'll cancel you. Trackball needs some service. Honestly, we're not doing too bad. I have no idea. You can still see the little trackball damage. So that's how you can tell this panel came from a Powerbook 100. But that's fine. It's usable. What are you? Sorry, I'm kind of sidetracked. Written in Think C. 2011. That's recent. I don't know what it is, but I'll just leave that alone. What kind of games do we have? Well, why not? Shuffle puck. Yeah, we just don't have very good contrast. It's about where it's balanced. Oh, well, that was bad. Yeah, I got... Whoa! Really? Yeah, you can't play shuffle puck on a trackball. Nope. Can't do it. That was terrible. That was terrible. It's fine. Load runner. I've never played this game. Anyways, everything seems to be working fine. This laptop can get shipped back to the original owner. And I'm glad to have repaired it because not too many of these little Powerbook 100s are surviving today for a lot of various reasons. So, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. If you have a comment, please feel free to leave one. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching.